Okay, we'll start with this. Jose Benavidez Sr., the father of David Benavidez, posted these lengthy captions to his social media, his Instagram account. Much of it is what you already know, what we've already read through. The information that's already been put out there by the trusted news sources. So why is Jose putting it out there? He's pouting. He's upset. He's gotta be. Because here they thought they found an easy route to a third alphabet title that doesn't require them to risk much, since Noel is not a risky opponent, not as risky as Jai. They thought their relationship with the World Boxing Council would serve as their ace in the hole to get at what they want without risking anything. And the powers that be, it would seem that the boxing gods are not without a sense of humor, because what Zuffa Boxing has essentially done is remind people what these fighters are actually fighting for. Most of the time, it's just about the money. Legacy, as it were, which is a common theme in the sport, is actually a luxury. Not afforded to everyone. Unless you think your average boxer is made out of the same stuff as a Sugar Ray Leonard, a Sugar Ray Robinson, a Marvin Hagler, and a Vander Holyfield. Color me cynical that I don't think Noel Magraken is cut from the same cloth as those fighters. So when offered life-altering money, even if it costs him his WBC title, he'll drop it like a sack of potatoes. Because what you can't do is take that WBC title to the Shoppers or the Giant or the Aldi and walk out with bags of groceries. They don't accept WBC titles at the Publix. You don't flash that green and gold title to the people at Con Edison and keep the lights on. What Zuffa Boxing has essentially done is remind people what the vast majority of these fighters are really fighting for. It's for money, because this is prize fighting. It's about the prizes more than it's about the WBC title. The WBC title and every other sanctioning body belt is just a framework that's supposed to allow you to get to the money. But if you can get there some other way, like Noel, what was their brazen abuse of power, ordering their WBC champion to fight somebody else's WBC champion to block another fighter from getting a fight. That's what they did. Zuffa has essentially reminded them who's really in charge. And it's not the sanctioning bodies. It's whoever's got the money. And right now, they've got the money. Zuffa! Putting them in their place is what they did, essentially. You think you're king shit with your little green and gold title, the most prestigious title. But of what use is it if a guy can get a bigger bag without fighting for that title? Humbling, I know. Humbling for them because they thought they had Noel by the balls. Humbling, I know. Yes, in most situations, an obscure fighter like a Noel Magraken's only bargaining chip is whether or not he has a title. But this situation is unique. The strategy, cunning, and clever. Some people still think this is about getting Jai that WBC title when what it's really about is robbing David Benavidez of his dinner. Screwing up his plans. Go ahead, Mauricio. Email him another belt and see how much money that makes in November or December, since David's fight date has since been pushed back. Go ahead and send him another email and see how many pay-per-views that sells. Don't forget what this is really all about. This is about David not wanting to fight Jai, not voluntarily, and looking for alternatives. Jai just took your alternative. So what are you gonna do now? If they send you the belt that Noel used to have, that's fine, that's nice, but who are you gonna fight? And if you do fight, what is that gonna sell? Near as I can tell, Jai Opataya is the real money man in this division, not David, and at some point, if David wants to make real money, he's gonna have to fight. He's gonna have to bite the bullet. Zuffa's got deep pockets. They can afford to play this game for longer than you can, David. Don't forget what this is all about. This is about David not wanting to fight Jai and pursuing alternatives. They just eliminated one of your alternatives. Don't forget what this is all about. The brazen abuse of power by the World Boxing Council, ordering their champion to box somebody else's to block Jai from having a fight. Why try to block Jai? Because he's with Zuffa? Who the fuck do you think you are? You think the stars in the sport of boxing are crowned by the World Boxing Council and who they do or don't decide to give a title shot to? Who the fuck do you think you are? You think you're running this thing, but you're not, because you don't put money in anybody's pocket. It's the people with the money that you rely on. And right now, Jai's people have more money, a lot more money, than David's. So keep your little belt.
Fucking bitch.
And give it to David, if that makes you feel better. You're still trying to turn that guy into a pay-per-view star. And don't forget what this is about for me and you, the customers. Because for us, it's a lot more simple. In this battle of competing interests, I wouldn't have a problem with David's fight against Noel if it didn't cost $80.
$80 fucking dollars in December when everybody's thinking about Christmas and buying their loved ones gifts. You're expecting the boxing fans to fork over $80 to see this?
What the fuck are you on, drugs or something? Whereas if Noel fights Jai, it doesn't cost us anything extra. We get to see it as part of our Paramount subscription on a very, very big show. Bigger than anything the PBC is doing this year.
Via a platform that costs less than DAZN does. With DAZN, you gotta pay for the subscription, then you have to pay again for the pay-per-view. That's 2 paywalls.
That's my skin in the game. It costs me less to watch Jai fight Noel than it would if it were David fighting Noel. So that settles it for me.
Fuck that shit.
Fuck you, David. Fuck you, Mauricio, World Boxing Council. Fuck the lot of you.
Fuck you.
You can take your belt and shove it.
Shove it up your ass.
Mob tactics in boxing. The U.S. Senate just introduced this ridiculous bill, and if it passes, it's going to let boxing promoters use one of the most powerful tools that the mob used to monopolize boxing last century. So let me give you a very quick history lesson here. Back in the mid-1900s, the mob found a way to monopolize boxing, and this is what they did. They used coercive contracts. All that means is, once they got control of the title, the mob wouldn't let anybody else challenge for that title, no matter how deserving they were.
And you think this all of a sudden stopped in the modern era? Or haven't you heard about Sulaiman Sissoko being passed over for a title shot by both Manny Pacquiao, who hadn't fought in years, and then Ryan Garcia, who was coming off a loss?
They both got shots at the title before him.
Unless that challenger signed a contract with the mob that's going to let the mob promote their future bouts. So then it didn't matter who won the belt, the current champion or the contender, because the mob could put on the next championship fight and the next and the next.
You mean like what the PBC's been doing with the WBA title for some years now? After Rolly Romero gets a gift stoppage in the Ishmael Barroso fight over punches that he didn't even land.
The WBA title went from Rolly Romero, who's with the PBC, to Isaac Cruz, who is also with the PBC, to Rayo Valenzuela, who was with the PBC, who then lost it to Gary Antoine Russell, who still is with the PBC.
They could control the sport, they could control the title, and they could just keep skimming off the top. Well, they did this for a while. Eventually, the U.S. federal government figured out what was going on, and they stopped them. They brought antitrust litigation and put an end to mob rule in boxing. But dirty practices continued for decades on end. So eventually Congress stepped in and they passed a wonderful series of laws now called the Muhammad Ali Act. And these laws made coercive contracts illegal. So this tactic that the mob was using became illegal.
Not really. Coercive contracts still exist in the sport of boxing, Muhammad Ali Act and all.
Some contracts have it put in the fine print that a fighter who may have only one fight left on his existing deal can have more fights and more time added to the contract if they become a champion.
Some people might call that coercive.
Maybe it is, but if you sign on the dotted line, you signed on the dotted line.
Well, this ridiculous bill called the Ali Revival Act is going to let coercive practices come back in.
Maybe they need to, because boxing as a sport was actually bigger, much bigger than it is now, when the mafia was running things.
For all of this fighter-first mentality stuff, the sport has actually grown smaller, allowing the fighters this much agency.
Smettila di preoccuparti, amico.
What are you so worried about, huh? That fighters are all of a sudden going to start getting taken advantage of? They've been getting taken advantage of, Muhammad Ali Act and all, and you don't decide to say anything about it until it involves Dana White.
That's what this is really about for you.
Who this is really about for you, not the fighters.
So the U.S. Senate is saying, hey, that stuff the mob did that was so terrible a while ago, Let's let promoters do that all over again. Ridiculous. If you want to protect boxers and you're against this bill, reach out to your senator and ask them to oppose the Ali Revival Act. And if your senator says they support this bill, ask them why they support bringing back mob tactics to professional boxing.
I'll tell you why I support it. I can do that. Doing things that the mafia used to do? Well, the thing about organized crime is that at least it's organized.
Unlike the unmitigated mess the sport of boxing has become in the postmodern era.
Erik Magraken is one of these fighter-first guys, as if we haven't been doing that for years now. And year after year, we've seen investors, we've seen networks leave the sport of boxing because it's just not a soluble business. Not when you're giving what are tantamount to entry-level employees this much agency over their careers.
I'm sorry, Eric, but sometimes you need somebody to crack the whip.
The situation with Keyshawn Davis is a perfect example. Here you have Top Rank that promotes this guy, offering up $3 million. That's about the same amount of money that Brian Norman got, and he was a defending champion when he fought Devin. Keyshawn is just a mandatory, and that $3 million, oh, it's not enough for him. He wants more.
He drags this out to a purse bid.
His promoter that originally put up the $3 million wins the purse bid, except now he only stands to make $2 based on the predetermined splits. And what does he do? He walks away from the fight altogether.
He leaves. He wastes everybody's time. Now there's no fight.
No, nothing's happening. No fight, no nothing. So maybe sometimes you need to coerce these fighters to do their job since they don't want to do it on their own. What about this is supposed to make boxing as a product appealing to networks that keep leaving the industry? NBC, Fox, Showtime, HBO.
More recently, ESPN.
Why do you think that keeps happening? I can tell you, it's because these fighters always want in excess of what they're worth. Now that they have more agency,
they want an arm and a leg to do anything.
Everything. It's always supposed to work out to where they make more money even if they can't clear it, even if they're not actually good for it. Take Shakur Stevenson and however many millions they paid him to cross over to Zuffa, where now he doesn't want to fight Rayo, but he doesn't want to fight O'Shaquie Foster either. He's also not interested in unifying titles.
And this is the guy you should pay millions upon millions of dollars for.
If he was actually good for it, I could see. If you could get him out there against a ham sandwich or a can of tomato paste, and he can make the money back, go ahead. But he can't.
He doesn't.
So maybe bringing back some old school coercive tactics will bring back the organization to the sport of boxing that has become an unmitigated mess.
And the other thing.
Because you keep harping about coercive tactics in the sport as if they went anywhere. The only thing that changed over time is who's doing the coercing. Before, it was the mafia, and now it's the sanctioning bodies. They're a little mafia unto themselves.
Sometimes the managers and the promoters collude with each other for their own best interests, which may not align with the fighters. Sometimes...
Other times, the promoters collude with the sanctioning bodies against other promoters. The seedy underbelly in the sport of boxing didn't get any cleaner as a result of the Ali Act. They just changed their tactics. And you're either naive or choose not to acknowledge it. But the reason it might be better to take a page out of the old school, as it were, is because at least back then people made sure that boxing was soluble, that the business was making money, and not just giving it away.
Because you seem to think that's how it's supposed to run, in spite of how many networks have left the industry in the last 10 or 15 years. How is the sport supposed to sustain without investors?
How's it supposed to sustain? How is it supposed to run? Now, circling back to the Keyshawn Davis situation that I mentioned earlier, Ryan Garcia deems Keyshawn Davis scared after withdrawing from the Haney fight. Davis pounded the table for a fight against WBO welterweight champion Devin Haney, and he got what he wished for when the sanctioning body ordered an encounter between two of the sport's most talented fighters and overpaid. After weeks of negotiations, the fight was pushed to a purse bid Thursday. Top Rank, which promotes Davis, secured the rights to stage the fight with a winning bid of $8.5 million. That meant Haney would have received 75% of the purse at $6.41 million, while Keyshawn Davis would have earned $2.1 million for a fight that would have taken place October 3rd in either Brooklyn, Atlanta, or Las Vegas.
Understand that. That 75-25 split is only as a result of it going to a purse bid. If they would have reached the deal amicably, Keyshawn would have made more money than that.
But the quote-unquote businessman Keyshawn Davis declined to fight. The Ring's Mike Kopinger reported that Davis originally declined $3 million to face Haney, which forced proceedings to a purse bid, and that he was looking for a $5 million windfall.
We now know where he got that number from, via his coach. His coach found out that Brian Norman made $3 million for Haney, and I guess they thought they should get a lot more than that.
Thus, Keyshawn Davis's refusal to roll the dice and take a chance on himself left the boxing public, including a potential future opponent and WBC champion Brian Garcia, puzzled. Keyshawn should have taken the fight with Devin. Disappointed, Garcia wrote on social media, Davis had a big opportunity and denied it for money. Don't be scared to fight Haney. At worst, you lose a 12-round decision.
Because he doesn't hit hard. But is that what we're looking at? Is it fear from Keyshawn Davis? Apprehensiveness? No, it's just unmitigated greed.
It's just greed, because fighters these days have too much agency. It's not the way it was before, where you could set them straight. They think they're businessmen. They think they understand the business.
You don't understand shit.
Whatever Brian Norman got for Devin came from Turkey, not Top Rank.
And whatever Brian got for Devin is none of your business, none of your concern. This is an opportunity for you, not Devin. You wanted that guy so bad. You had the opportunity to show people how good you are by stepping in there with him and knocking his block off. And instead, you chose to do nothing. So now you get nothing.
Nada.
But it's not without consequences. Because the one thing you do waste that you don't get back is time. Top Rank just jumped into bed with DAZN, their new broadcast partner, and they have to provide them with content people want to watch.
If they let you have it your way, you're going to drag every set of negotiations out, looking for money you're not good for, waste everybody's time, and in the end, you may or may not fight. You may or may not give them content for their broadcast partner. And the more time you waste, the less they get to do their job.
Because you don't want to do yours.
It's not conducive towards the business, Mr. Businessman. Chalk it up to Dunning-Kruger syndrome, where someone who's vastly unqualified greatly overestimates their ability in a given field.
Mr. Business Guy, who could have got $3 million but actually managed to negotiate it down to $2 million. Good job.
Guy's hustling backwards. You just negotiated your way to less money and no fight? It's not that he's scared, like Ryan says. He's not scared. He's greedy and he's stupid.